Okay, it says we are live. We'll give it a few moments to catch up. I always like to see the actual. Oh, there it goes. There it goes. Okay. I like to see the actual video turn on because there's about a whatever 5-10 second lag, something like that, between you and I talking and the video itself. So, folks, happy Tuesday night. Welcome to another solo chat. We've got a very special guest tonight, our buddy Fit and Fire. Fit, how's it going, man?
Oh, it's going great. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, it's always a pleasure, my friend. Always a pleasure indeed. So, what is new in your world?
Oh my goodness. I've had a pretty whirlwind last 2 weeks. The weekend before last, I was in Gillette, Wyoming with Palmetto State Armory and doing some shooting with them. And then this last weekend, I was with Tactical Response and doing their fighting rifle class. So it has been a whirlwind of a couple of weeks for sure.
Nice, nice. So, tell me about Palmetto State Armory. I am very curious. I've seen some videos. I've been a little bit jealous of some things you've gotten to play with recently. Tell me all about that.
So, a couple weeks ago, it was actually a couple months ago, I got a random email from Palmetto State Armory, and they asked if I would be interested to come out to a place called High Bar Ranch, or excuse me, High Bar Homestead in Gillette, Wyoming. It's a shooting ranch. It's 250 acres in the hilly country of northern Wyoming, and they have like tons of different ranges. They have a 1,000-yard range. They have a 1 mile range. They've got 100-yard range, a shoot house. They've got unknown distance range, whole bunch of different stuff. And they just invited me out along with Pew Pew Tactical, Coda Boy, and Burst Review. And we all came out and just kind of got to play with the weapons in their inventory, just kind of put them through their paces. And I was really excited to get my hands on the AKV, and I put at least 600 rounds through it myself, and was thoroughly impressed.
Nice, nice. So that's what I'm jealous of. That thing looks pretty cool. So now I've got a question for you because you've had the experience with the SIG MPX. We've had a good time with that. Great video on that as well. But then you've had the opportunity to try, of course, the AKV. AKV, is that what it is?
Mhm.
And but then also the PSA MP5, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Yes, I do have one of those, and they had two of those out there as well. So
Right, right. So break it down, those three. What do you like about those three? And ultimately, which one would you pick out of the three?
hmm. So, oh man, that is such a tough question. So if you're going for affordability, if affordability is the only thing you care about, but you still want to get something that is super nice, then the AR9 is going to be the way to go. I mean, it's very familiar to a lot of people because it is an AR platform, but you usually can pick. Correct me if I'm wrong. Around the $500 mark.
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah, right. So that's pretty cool, depending on what type of options you have on it. Now, if you're going for like the cool factor, then the MPX. I mean, if you don't care about price and you just want super cool, super cool factor, it's got to be the MPX. But if you want something that is like the earth is getting torn down around you and you need something that is going to just be there whenever you need it, you really can't go wrong with the AK Action, especially the way that they've got that one set up. I would think, and I haven't put any through any type of like military arms channel torture test or anything, but we ran through two AKVs they had out there. We ran 3,000 rounds and we didn't have a single issue. And it wasn't like we were handling everything with kit gloves. I mean, we did a run and gun scenario. It was dusty out there. It was fairly warm, so we heated those things up, and they just ran. They ran everything we put through it. So, that's kind of like the spectrum. I think you got the AR9 on one side when it comes to affordability. You've got the MPX as far as like the cool factor and the Gucci Glock type of thing, and then you've got the AKV right in the middle that is a little bit more expensive than the AR9, a lot cheaper than the MPX, but is going to be super reliable, I think.
Nice. That's cool. That's very cool.
I would say, and I would say, I would challenge, out of all three of those, I think the AKV, the way that Palmetto State Armory has it set up, I think it is probably the most controllable. It's not going to get that rise if you start to fire faster. I found, if I remember correctly, I found that that PDW style brace on the MPX seemed to be a little unwieldy for me as I started to shoot a little bit faster. And then depending on what kind of brace you put on an AR9, like if it's like a Shockwave blade, that can be a little unwieldy as well. So I think the AKV is kind of a great mixture of the two and very controllable. So
interesting. Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll be really excited when I can hopefully get a hold of one at some point in time. That'll be a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah.
I have zero experience with AKs. Zero. Not a single round ever fired through one. I know what they look like. I would recognize them if I saw them out on the street. But aside from that, I have zero experience at all.
Yeah. And C Kim is just asking, how's the trigger? And the trigger on the AKV is really nice. It has a little bit longer of a reset like a standard AK trigger would, but it is a single stage trigger and it breaks very easily. It's probably, I didn't test it, but I would imagine it's probably around the 5 to 6 pound mark. So it's not very, very heavy. And, I was just able to really throw rounds down range and just keep that muzzle controlled, even though, an AK kind of has a rocking motion when you fire. But since it's a 9mm and it's got that really nice 2-port break at the end of it, it was really controllable. So
nice. Okay, cool. So the next question is, are there more on the way?
More,
are they going to be available anytime soon for people to get? They're so hard to find.
They are working on that. Unfortunately, that is a very good problem for PSA. But I did talk to the team there, and they said they were working on it. Now, one of the great things that I kind of found is kind of inside track. So it's just between you, me, and the audience here. Right. Is if you're really interested in the AKV, go to Facebook and join the Palmetto State Armory AKV group. And anytime that they have a run of those that is getting ready to go on sale, they will post it on there ahead of time. I don't know how far ahead of time, maybe 24 hours. I'm not sure, but they will post it on the AKV group on Facebook when a batch of those is getting ready to go on sale. So
nice. Now it's funny. Wild Bill just said no love for the CZ Scorpion. You've had the opportunity to shoot that as well. So where would you throw that into the mix?
The Scorpion's cool. I thought that the recoil on that was a little bit more sharp than all three of those other ones. And I do like the side charging function that it has on it, but I didn't really care for how low the sights sit. And the one that I shot had a standard AR co-witness riser on it, and it put me way up high. So if you're like trying to switch your red dot from your AR9 or your AR15 over to a CZ Scorpion, then you're going to be sitting up way up high, and your head's going to be kind of floating around. So I don't know. It's okay. I don't think it's for me. Even though I'm a big fan of CZ, I just don't know if that's for me. So.
Okay. No, that's totally fair. And actually, I think you were shooting my Scorpion, if I remember correctly.
That was correct.
And so I keep that red dot high because I have glasses, and I learned the first time I shot the first Scorpion I had, the gray one, did a short review on it. I had it first sitting low when I was shooting, and because I have glasses, I was getting double vision because it was hitting me right at the glasses line where my head would rest comfortably. And so that was a better position physically, but eyesight wise, I would have some rounds that were on target and some that were a big pile about 8 inches high and right. And that was because I was going for one or the other vision and not consistently between the two. And so I used the higher riser and then co-witness under it. and that solved that problem. But you're exactly right. You sit high on it, so you're not tucking in as close to it as you probably should.
Yeah, yeah, and it's not to say that the CZ Scorpion isn't a great platform. I think it does very well. I think there's a lot of popularity behind it. It's one of the things I just don't know if it's right for me. I may have to try it again, but I think Such is getting ready to come out with a video on one, or he just did. So
Okay.
one of the two.
Okay. Interesting. Well, we'll have to definitely check that out. Now, going along with this, and Dennis B, hopefully you're still in here. Dennis B from New York, he had asked a question in the pre-chat, so I grabbed that and saved it because I thought it was very interesting. He said he needs some advice. He's thinking about getting rid of his AR-15, and again, he's from New York, and if he gets rid of it, he's not going to be able to have one again. He's got an actual AR-15 in New York, of course. Can't have those, or at least in the way that they were originally intended. So what do you think of that? What do you think of that, the opportunity to maybe get rid of it, but not ever be able to have one again if he stays in New York?
Yeah, that's a conundrum for sure. Personally, I go through a breakup cycle anytime I have to get rid of any of my guns. I just got rid of my Glock 26, and I went into about a 5-day depression. I am dead serious. I cannot stand partying with my firearms. They're almost like kids to me, you know. I was like, so many great memories. It was like my first trip to Florida. I had my Glock 26, you know.
Right.
But to be honest with you, if it was me, and if I was in New York and I was in a position where I was like, should I sell it? Should I not sell it? I would not sell it because of everything that's going on with the laws and how difficult it is and all that jazz. I personally couldn't do it, but that's just me because I'm very emotionally attached to my firearms. So,
Okay. No, that's totally fair. And I wish I could be too. I mean, you and I've talked in several instances where I've sort of gotten numb to that a little bit. When I have to sell a firearm, I have to sell a firearm. It is what it is. And I know that I'm bringing something else on it. I can still have a lot of fun with it. Excuse me. But as far as the AR goes, now I am primarily a handgun guy, so my attachment to something like an AR is a little bit lower. Although I love my AR pistol, I've had a great time with it. That Dagger Defense build, it's been phenomenal. A PSA, mostly PSA build. I think an AR lower, or Arrow precision lower rather. But for me, I mean, if there's something else that fits a need that you're really after, and the money helps you get there, do what you got to do. But if the idea that you might potentially one day want to get back into an AR and the opportunity perhaps isn't there, if you're in New York, maybe hang on to it if you can, and work a different direction to get what you want. There's no right or wrong answer to that necessarily. It all comes down to what your priorities are and that sort of thing. But it is perplexing nonetheless, because if you do walk away from it, the idea that you can't get back into it would be very frustrating.
Yeah, and if you're not an AR guy to begin with, then and you don't really have an emotional attachment to it, then yeah, I mean, go ahead. But me personally, like I said, I have an emotional attachment because there's some type of really awesome memory that I have that I have with a firearm. Like one of the firearms I have right now is a POF MP5 clone, and that is a ridiculous firearm. I don't even need it. There's no point in me having it because I've got an AR-9. I've got pistols. I'm getting ready to build a 300 Blackout now. So for home defense, there's really not a reason for me to have it, but it's the first MP5 that I've ever shot suppressed. So it's just like, so that's the memory, and I don't want to get rid of it.
Well, there's also a cool factor with that. I think MP5s inherently have a cool factor that most other guns, to me, can't touch.
Yep. Yeah. It's the whole Die Hard phenomenon. Yep.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. They are pretty cool. Now I had the opportunity to shoot your MP5, and it was that same struggle that I was talking about earlier, because again, I wear glasses and you have to get super tucked into that. And I I didn't get as close to it as I probably should have, and so spending more time would be good. But I found that it was difficult for me to get on it and really shoot it, because when I would try and tuck and find a place where I could see through my glasses and get close to it, it was actually pushing up on my ear protection a little bit.
Yes.
And so it would get a little loud as
Mm.
well. And so that's the one thing. I mean, it's not as comfortable. The cool factor is there ad nauseum, but I couldn't get comfortable with the thing.
Yeah, that's I have the exact same problem, and I'm just like, well, I've already got tinnitus. What's a little bit more?
Right, right. I hear you. Well, so I've captured some other questions here. And guys, please feel free, share your questions. We'll get to as many as we possibly can tonight. It's pretty much open forum. So as usual with us. But Daniel Butler had said, hey, any thoughts on the 92X from Beretta? What do you know about that thing?
I'm going to have to look that up. Let me look it up real quick. I'm going to have to check that out. I haven't heard anything. What's going on with that?
Well, so from what I understand, this is from Beretta. So it's not an aftermarket. It's not Wilson Combat or Langdon Tactical or anything like that. It is actually from Beretta, and it's geared towards competition shooters. And so I would imagine that the trigger is tuned to one degree or another, although I don't know. I've never seen one, never held one, anything like that. But that's its principal design. So I would imagine the cost would be a little bit more than the average 92, but the specs would probably be a little bit better as well.
So I just pulled it up here. It's got a red fiber optic front sights and a full black and serrated adjustable rear sights, sawtooth front and rear serrations, match takedown lever, which I don't understand why that is such a big deal. Oversized mag button, front and rear frame checkering for the grip. Looks like it's got some enhanced pistol grip, skeletonized hammer, ambidextrous thumb safety, which is different than a standard 92 FS. It's more of like a 1911 style paddle safety.
Right.
It doesn't say if it does or not have a decocker on it. So
I would say if it's got a safety, it probably does not have a decocker. That would be a guess, but I would imagine.
Yeah, and that safety is, like I said, ambidextrous. So, I mean, it looks like a new generation of Beretta 92s. So, I mean, and it looks like you can get it either for 10 rounds or 15 rounds capacity, and it's $1,400. So,
whoa. So swallowed my dinner there. So $1,400. So I'm sitting here and I'm thinking about things like the Langdon Tactical and the Wilson Combat, and I've been working with both and hope to have videos out on both here, as well as if I could only have one, because I'm kind of curious about that. And then throw the M9A3 into the mix as well. Pistol Pete was saying that he hears that the 92X trigger is underwhelming. That would be ironic because both the Langdon, and I don't have either one with me, but the Langdon and the Wilson have trigger jobs, and they are tremendously good. I mean, they are good triggers. I mean, they're not Shadow 2 triggers or anything like that, but they are good triggers. And so if the trigger is underwhelming at $1,400 when you've got some other options that I think scratch that itch if you're a trigger snob, that's a big deal. I mean, $1,400, that's a lot of bread right there.
Yes, sir. It says here with the Extreme S, the 92X Performance has a quote unquote out of the box weight of 1.5 kilograms in single action and 3 kilograms in double action. So if you do your fuzzy math of multiplying kilograms by 2.205, that would be approximately 3 pounds on the single action and about 6.5, 6 2/3 on double action. So double action at 6 pounds, that's not too bad.
No, that's not bad. And actually, I would say that's either on par or probably a little bit lighter than both the Wilson and the Langdon. So, but I don't know though. I mean, again, I think all the proof is in the pudding, right? You got to get it in your hand and try it out. I think it would be interesting to try, but I'm a little overloaded on 92s, and I feel like 3 is enough. Two of which are mine right now, and one would be a loaner. That's enough 92s. People would start getting tired of that pretty quick.
It's funny that you say that because I have too many 92s as well. I have one.
Right, right. That's pretty good.
So I just so everybody knows, I carried a 90. I carried an M9 for a year in Iraq, and I had nothing but problems with it. It doesn't, and not because the Beretta is a bad pistol. It was just the one that I had was very poorly maintained before I got it. The trigger spring broke. Everything. I mean, it was just there was no Parkerizing on it whatsoever. All the bluing had been completely worn away. I had a leather holster, a leather shoulder holster, and it would in just randomly flip the safety off. So I'm walking around with a live pistol without the safety on. All these different issues I had with it, and then on top of it, with it being an open slide design, it was just like the frame was just like a dust trough, So that was my misgivings about the 92, and I have one so my wife can go to the range and practice with it because her unit hasn't received the M17s yet.
Interesting. Well, it'll be fascinating to see him at some point. Hopefully, again, it's probably not on my radar at this time, but a lot of people have been asking about it nonetheless. Now, moving on to a different one, Feared But Good asked, 509 midsize, yes or no?
We're talking about the FN 509, right?
You got it, the one and the only.
Man, I tell you what, I'm batting 0 for 3 at this point because I'm not a fan of the FN 509 at all. I mean, it's great. It just, for me personally, and this is going to sound extremely shallow, but I have to look at a pistol or any firearm and be like, that looks cool. And the 509 just doesn't do it for me. And I think one of the things that I don't like about it is how the 509 tactical. I'm trying to mentally look at this in my head. Does it have a RMR cut, or is that the upgraded version?
The 509 tactical does, yes.
Okay, so with that one, it's got like this weird swooping motion on the rear sight.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like that from the training that I've been through on single-handed manipulation by being able to hook the rear sight into your belt and rack the slide, or the sole of your shoe, or some hard edge. If you have that rounded front part to the rear sight, you can't really do that very easily. So that's kind of the practicality that I don't like. And yeah, so but if you are a fan of FN 509s, yes. I mean, anything that is going to be a compact version of the full size cousin, I think you're gonna have a winner on your hands, because it's going to be far more concealable. You're not going to really lose too much as far as capacity goes, and if you already like it, then that's just one added bonus,
Right, absolutely. Well, it's funny, you said something very profound there that I think a lot of people, especially a lot of people on YouTube, don't necessarily want to admit. You look at something and there's got to be a wow factor. There's got to be an attraction there, right? There's got to be a reason why you're interested in handling it and looking at it and that sort of thing. Some sort of that looks cool, some sort of cool factor. So this is a question for everyone else. When you're shopping for a firearm, does cool factor, does look, does aesthetic mean something to you? I will tell you, it means something to me. I mean, now I test firearms, generally speaking, regardless of what I think, or at least I try to. There are a few I've stayed away from. I'm just kind of I have no interest in that. But by and large, I'll try just about anything. But there does have to be an attraction for me as well. I want to be able to say that looks cool. I mean, like this Archon, not everybody digs this. I dig it. I think it looks freaking cool. I love it. I love the lines of it. And it's just weird. It's different. It's kind of odd and a little funky looking. And I think that's kind of cool. I'm a little odd and funky looking too. So so we go together very well. But for everyone else out there, do looks matter to you?
Yeah, that's a great question. And that Archon, you know, I think it looks pretty cool because it kind of reminds me of something you'd see in like Starship Troopers, you know. So there's that. It's like when you look at a Tavor, you see that and you're like, Starship Troopers, you know. It's
Right.
it's ridiculous, but you know, yeah.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And you know, it's funny. Some other people are starting to chime in on that. Young Gun said, "Yes, looks matter." C Kim, yes, but feel and trigger means more, and I totally get that. And from a practical perspective, yes, you're totally right, 110%. If it looks cool, but the trigger is junk, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter, right? If you're not going to enjoy shooting it, probably not going to keep it. Mark Linder was talking about the Staccato P. That video just dropped. I'm in love with this gun, I have to say. And Fit, you've got to shoot this gun. It is an experience. So next time you're here, we got to hit the range and
Yeah, absolutely.
time with that. It's a lot of fun. Although you've shot some pretty cool STIs as well.
Now, I think I did shoot the Staccato P when I was there, right? It's the smaller one, right?
That's the Staccato C.
C. Yes. Okay. So the P is the full size version.
That's the big
Okay.
one.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the Staccato C was a lot of fun to shoot. I mean, the trigger on it was nice. Well, it was beyond nice. It was excellent, and it was. Corinne Mosier said it best when she said it is a competition pistol in a concealed carry package. And I think that was the best way to really put it to get people's head kind of wrapped around it. So, yeah.
Yeah. No, that is a good way to look at it. Now, I think that would probably, for some people, and there are definitely some people who have chimed in on the comments, both with the Wilson, the EDCX9, and also the Staccato P, saying that you know, they would never carry it, not only for the price because they are pricey guns, you know, $2,000 or $3,000 depending, but then also because of the trigger. Now, you know, you make the argument people have been carrying 1911s for decades and decades, and 1911s, even you know, run-of-the-mill 1911s have reasonably decent triggers on them, and it doesn't take much to do a trigger job on a 1911. So, you know, some people saying that, gosh, if it's got a 3-pound trigger, that's way too light, it's very dangerous. Well, you know, carried cocked and locked with a reliable firearm with a good safety on it. I don't know, man. I don't necessarily have a problem with that. I'm not going to carry a 36-ounce gun. I'm not going to lie to you, but if I could get away with it, and if I had the budget to be more comfortable with losing it, yeah, I'd consider it.
Yeah. There's so many different factors that a lot of people need to weigh in. And I've actually gotten into a really interesting conversation with someone about the Taurus G2C. And I cannot stand that I have to continue to bring this, you know, that pistol up, but it just keeps going. I mean, I'm almost, I think I'm really close to 200,000 views on that video, my last video on it, and people are just still chiming in on that thing. And this one individual actually had a really good argument. And, you know, I disagree with them, but I don't necessarily discount it. His biggest thing is, it has to be, obviously, a pistol, regardless of what it is, has to be reliable. It has to be ergonomically pleasing to his hand and how it fits it. And it has to be accurate and easy to carry. That's it. And if you're trying to carry around a 36-ounce pistol, it's not going to work. It's not going to be comfortable, and you're going to ditch it after a couple of weeks. So,
right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I remember, and you and I were at the STI event together at Centerfire. One of the guys there that was kind of working the table, he, sure enough, concealed carry appendix Staccato P. And he was a smaller dude with thin guy, the opposite of me. And he seemingly was able to get away with it. I mean, he had an untucked t-shirt on. You couldn't tell he had it. So mad props to him for that. If I had a Staccato P on, you would absolutely know I had it on. There would be no question whatsoever that there was something seriously wrong with me with my waist, you know, some odd object on there. I couldn't do it, man. I couldn't do it. And you're right. It would be uncomfortable. 36 ounces to me is too much. I carry a Shield or a 43X or whatever. I mean, I've carried a Glock 19, that sort of thing. And that's doable, but I like extreme comfort as much as I possibly can.
Yes, exactly. And I'm going to pitch something at you because I keep on seeing this thrown up out in the comment section here. Some people are talking about the Hudson. Would you even try to, I mean, the one, let's see, Steve B, he says the Hudson, and then he has a whole bunch of throw up emojis. But, and then Mike Vegas says, I saw a Hudson at the gun show this weekend. Would you ever carry a Hudson?
Well, no, I certainly wouldn't because I didn't have one that worked at all. So, for me, reliability has got to be number one, and that did not exude reliability for me. So that was a sample of one. It was a shooter of one. A lot of people have had a very different experience with the Hudson, and we've talked a lot over the past year and a half about the Hudson and my particular experience with it. But absolutely not. Now, cool factor. If it was a working firearm, cool factor, that thing had it in spades. It absolutely did. And it was amazing to shoot when it worked, but I would not carry that gun. No, too heavy.
Yeah. And then let's see, back up here. Menteo says that he carried a steel frame gun that weighed in at over 44 ounces for over a year. But yeah, it does get old fast. Mm-hmm. Props to you.
Yeah. It's absolutely right, and that's that's something that I think is really important. If you're going to carry, you want to always carry, right, or at least wherever you can. I mean, everybody knows I can't carry at work, but otherwise I carry. And for me, something like the 43X, it's comfortable to carry, and I can get away with it. I can carry it comfortably all day without it printing or anything like that. And I'm not constantly messing with my pants. Occasionally I do, but that's more me, not because the gun's doing something weird or whatever. But that encourages me to want to carry, and I think that's really important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. I think you and I are both in the same ballpark. I carry a Glock 19 in a holster with a sidecar. That Glock 19 has a threaded barrel and an RMR on it. Just standard 19 magazines on both. And I've been able to get a holster that is not only comfortable, but I can conceal well with my body shape. Mm-hmm. So, and carrying appendix as well. So it's not for everybody, but yeah, mm-hmm. It's all about what works with you, your body type, and how you carry and all of that jazz.
Right. Well, and good belt, good holster, that's a huge part of it too. If you don't have a belt that is designed for concealed carry to one degree or another, stiff enough with a little bit of movement so you're comfortable, and a good holster with good retention, I mean, that's foundation. I mean, that's going to help that experience all day long.
Absolutely.
It's funny. REB is saying that's the way I carry my STI tactical host every day. So that's impressive that you're carrying that. That is very impressive. That's essentially a staccato P with a red dot on it. So that's pretty darn cool.
Yeah, definitely cool.
All right. So I'm going to back up just a little bit. Captain Phil asked earlier, and I'm not sure if Captain is, I haven't seen him make a comment in a little while, but he was saying, what is Fit and Fire's current EDC? And you did kind of answer that a little bit a second ago. So
I've got two. I have the Glock 19, my Folan Special is what I call it. It's a Glock 19 that's been stippled by Williams Gun Works out of Wichita, and they went ahead and milled out a spot for an RMR, and then I have a gold Faxon barrel on it that's threaded, which is it just kind of sets it off and makes it a little bit more wow. It's like every time I look at it, I think of the scene from Resident Evil. The one dude's like the cops are looking at this one dude asking if he needs a weapon. He pulls up his shirt and he's appendix carrying a gold Desert Eagle, and he says, "Man, my stuff's custom."
Nice.
So that's kind of what I like to carry on just like a everyday type of thing. But if I'm going back and forth between gym, then I'm carrying a Sig P365 and a holster from Wolf Hollow Tactical that has the Ulti clip, which is really great because it just clamps right onto my gym shorts and stays in place exactly where I want it. So yeah.
Nice. That's cool. So the Armsman is asking, and speaking of Taurus, how's the G2C? Is it still working for you?
It is. Yeah, it is working just fine. To be frankly honest with you, after I got done with the 1,000 rounds, I haven't shot it since. I've actually been shooting a different Taurus pistol, one that a very good friend of ours has let me borrow. It's fine. You know, it's a thing. I did see that James Yeager did put like nine of those pistols through one of their courses that ended up being like 10,000 rounds between 9 of those, and they all worked. They had one that had a ejector fail on them, and then they had one that the sights got all mangled up because of how rough they were with it. But at the end of the day, I mean, as much as it pains me to say, it's a decent pistol for especially its price range.
Yeah. No, I agree. I totally agree with that. So C Kim was saying appendix could mess up your intestines in the long run. It's very interesting. I haven't thought about that at all. Do you know anything about that?
I don't. I could understand that. So I just drove back from Tennessee yesterday. I spent most of the day yesterday on the road, and I carried appendix for a while. And when I'm driving, I constantly have to be drinking water or a Monster or something. It's just something that helps me stay awake while I'm driving. And after a while, your bladder gets filled up, and then you've got that rig pushing in on your stomach there. I could probably see how that would kind of affect your stomach. How exactly that works. I don't know. I'm not a doctor, but yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I couldn't do appendix, man. I couldn't hang with it. I tried it, and it doesn't fit my body type at all. It was uncomfortable, and it showed. I mean, it really, you could kind of tell. So I just couldn't get away with it.
Yeah, definitely.
LZ USA is saying, please, no more Taurus. There's some diehards out there. LZ, I appreciate that about you, man.
I tell you, I don't mean to interrupt you here, but if you look at the comment section in my videos, you would think that there is not any other pistol out there besides a G2C. That all other it's one pistol to rule them all, and I'm just like, man, I thought Glock fanboys were bad, but whew, man, let me tell you.
Yeah, well, and credit where credit's due. That type of firearm allows more people to be able to get into shooting and carry and that sort of thing. However, the argument's been made several times. There are other firearms that are in that price range or relatively close that are, most people would consider higher quality, like M&P, even like a 1.0 M&P you can get for, in some cases, under $300. That's a screaming deal. I mean, it really is. And an M&P, even a 1.0, you could do a couple of minor modifications if you wanted to, if the budget allowed. And that is a perfectly servable firearm.
Yeah. I think I just saw, I can't remember where I saw it. It was either like Gun Pro Deals or Palmetto State Armory, one of the two. They had an M&P 9 for like $299. It was like ridiculously cheap.
Yeah.
It blew me away.
Yeah, no, that's a sweet deal. It's hard to resist. Now, for something like some of those, they're a little bit bigger, so it's a consideration for people. But again, in terms of finances, at least, I mean, that allows you to get into a good firearm with a I suppose a longer reputation anyway, if nothing else. I mean, the Taurus seems to be doing pretty well, but M&Ps have proven for the most part to be very reliable firearms.
Yes. Yep.
So, So I had something here. Mark Linder, my buddy Mark, he was asking if you are from Kansas as well.
I am in the Free State.
Yes, that's good. That's good. Narrow that down.
Yeah. Yes, I'm from Kansas. I'm born and bred Kansas. I grew up in Wichita, and have lived the majority of my life in Kansas. I've, with the exception, let's see. So I'm 41, and let's see, 1, 2, 3. So out of the 41 years I've lived on this planet, 7 of them have been away from Kansas. So there you go.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Nice. Nice. So Texas teacher is asking, what do you think of the 365 XL?
So I was just getting ready to send a reply back to him. I've kind of got a mixed opinion about it, because part of me is like, yes, I like the longer slide because it gives you that longer sight radius to give you even more accuracy. But then the other side of me is like, why? You know, what am I gaining from the XL that I can't already get in the regular P365? It's extremely accurate already. I mean, I can place rounds right on top of each other with that pistol at 7 yards. Not rapid fire, but 1 round every second or so. And they just introduced the 15 round magazine for it. So what really am I going to gain from it by adding like half an inch to the slide, 3/4 of an inch to the slide, whatever it is? So I don't know. I like the idea, but at the same time, I'm just like, it seems like they're trying to make up for something,
Okay, gotcha. Now I see that a little bit different, and I'm curious because I don't know, I'm kind of curious about all guns. But aside from that, it does have a little bit longer sight radius. I generally don't notice that benefit all that much. I mean, I'm not a terrifically accurate shooter. I've never said that I was. So in my hands, I don't really notice that. You put the Shield or the Shield 4-inch in my hands, there might be a marginal difference, but it's negligible to me. So I would look forward to maybe a little bit more weight in front. Hopefully there'll be just a little bit more, even if it's an ounce or two, that can make a dramatic difference. But then also the grip is longer because it's native 12 rounds versus 10 rounds. So there's a little bit more meat and potatoes in that grip, which I can definitely appreciate. It's cut for a dot, so that's kind of cool. Now I think it's cut for, and I don't know, excuse me, if it's proprietary or not. I think it's going to be like the Romeo Micro that's coming out from SIG. That's not going to be released until much later, from what I understand. But then it's also got a flat face trigger, and I don't know if it's a better trigger. That trigger for the 365 is not bad. But if there are any enhancements to that, or even just that flat trigger, I think there probably could be some nice welcome additions or enhancements to it. But at the end of the day, the core firearm itself, I think you're right. Are people going to be able to notice that much of a difference? Probably not.
Yeah, and you actually brought up a couple of things that I had forgotten about. The fact that it's a 12 rounder and that it's cut for an RMR straight from the factory. Texas teacher did say that he did agree, and he says, if anything, I just get the 320X compact. And I was like, yeah. So we shot one, right?
Yeah, still have.
Yeah,
I love that gun.
Yeah, that flat face trigger, I really like that. So
yeah. That, I'll tell you what. And I've had an odd relationship with 320s. I think I've tested basically the entire run of them, every size, every make of them, since the beginning, and including the X series and all of that. And when I got to that compact, that X compact, it changed my mind dramatically, because I can just get more of me on that gun. I can control it a little bit better, because 320s I always thought were pleasant shooters, but they were a little bit top heavy and a little bit slide high. And so I knew there was just going to be a little bit more, they were a little bit more wild in my hands. If anybody's bored and they want to go back and look at my shooting history with 320s, they're always a little bit wild in my hands. That was the same with Walthers. They were always a little wild for me. And it just, I'm used to Glocks, I'm used to, or CZ P10s, that sort of thing, where they're super, super low, this Archon. And so I can just appreciate that super low slide and very flat shooter. But the X Compact, man, that thing is fantastic. It's a great shooter. I mean, it's still a little flippy, but it's controllable to me.
Yep. Mark Linder, Linden. I'm sorry, Mark. I'm messing your name up. Yeah. He says, how many rounds have you put through your P365 fit? He wants to get one, but all the issues I've been hearing have kind of turned me off. I love the Legion sights, though, and the trigger reset pull is good. And to be frankly honest with you, I bought mine in May of last year. I've had 0 issues. I've had no issues on failure to feed, fire, or eject. I've had no magazine issues, with the exception of the magazine, or with the exception of the slide not locking back. But I think that is operator by my thumbs resting on the slide release. And there is striker drag, but I guess that is kind of somewhat inherent to subcompacts. Not all, but some. So I've had no issues whatsoever. And I did see today that Tim from the Military Arms channel just bought his 4th or 5th P365. And he said that he really hopes, he showed the date on the box that it's May of 2019, that he hopes that it works because he really wants that pistol. He likes it and he really wants it to work. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Man, you eventually have to cut and run. You know, if you've had a bad experience enough times, shouldn't that tell you something? That's not the gun for you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Whatever. To each his own, I suppose. But I had a good experience with mine. I think I had something like 1,400 rounds before I finally parted ways with it, and it was fine. I mean, it had that peening a little bit, but that was cosmetic more than anything else. It didn't hurt the functionality or anything like that. So it was a good experience. And that primer drag thing, I don't think that's a thing. I really don't. I have yet to see true empirical evidence that is actually a thing, other than a term that somebody coined to describe how the spent primer looked on a round. You know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think that it was a thing that was maybe causing the firing pin to break because of that drag, and it's a MIM part. I don't know. I'm not an engineer, even though my job title has engineer in it. I'm not an engineer, so I wouldn't begin to pretend to know.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Bald and Curious was asking, SIG X5 Legion. Have you ever shot an X5?
No, I have not. It's one of the ones that's the slippery one that keeps getting away. So
sure. Well, they're fun guns to shoot. Bald, I would be in for a Legion. The only thing that I want to make sure of, and I'm really critical of Sig Sauer for this, their PVD style coatings, whether it be their Coyote or their Legion coatings, generally are really finicky and fickle, and they scratch easy. And this goes back to that aesthetic thing. I've made a fuss about this in videos, and people have given me trouble for it. They say it's a tool, who cares? And that's what it's designed to do. And I get that. I totally get it, and I appreciate it. But there is an aesthetic part of it too. And if I'm going to have a Legion, whether it's a 229 or an X5 or whatever it is, I want it to shoot well, feel good, look good, all those sorts of things. It has to all go together. And so I'd have to carefully inspect what I'd be getting myself into. And if it was $200 or $300 more for that, and not really getting much more, but the Legion name, I don't think that one's worth it. I think the 229 and 226 Legions are kind of worth it. Their shooting on those are incredible, but the X5, I don't know, dude. I don't know.
Yeah, I actually, if I had to pick right now what pistol I wanted to get my hands on the most, it more than likely would be the Canik. Oh man, what's it called? The Canik TP9 Elite Combat. I think that's the one. That's the one that I would probably want to get my hands on the most. So I don't know. Just me. I don't know.
They are supremely awesome. I know some people are not a fan of that company for a variety of different reasons, but Polymer Firearms out of the box, at least in terms of the trigger, I don't think I've ever experienced a better trigger. I
Hmm.
really have not. They are to me the pinnacle of a trigger that I would enjoy. Not only the shape of it, that's that extreme flat face, really big flat trigger, but then the break and the reset. That reset is so short you almost miss it. And man, I'll tell you what, they are a ton of fun to shoot.
The second one to that would be the steel framed Walter Q5 match.
Yeah.
That one's pretty nice too, but I guess that some of the competition shooters are not so overly happy with it, I guess, because of some of the things they wanted out of it that they didn't get.
Right, right. I think the trigger has been the biggest criticism of that. It's not a bad trigger. Don't get me wrong. It did not impress me very much. I mean, I've reviewed it, and I didn't think it was a PPQ trigger, and PPQ triggers are good triggers without question. However, I think for a in this case, the Pro is a $1,700 competition gun. I want better than PPQ. I want the best possible striker trigger that Walther could muster. You know what I mean? And so that was the one thing that was a little bit of a disappointment. I mean, the stylings were a little bit wild, but I actually kind of liked that. Again, I like unique, weird, odd guns, and I thought that fit the bill very well. But the trigger just it was a little bit underwhelming to me.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, yeah. I guess that was my initial. I at SHOT Show I went and checked out the Canic first, and then from there I immediately went over to Walter and checked out the Q5, and after fiddling with the Canic and then checking out the Q5, yeah, I had the same opinion. So,
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. Well, I'm trying to see if there's some other questions out there, folks. If we've missed a question, I apologize. Please ask it again because we've got just a little bit more time. Eric Davis is saying just bought a Canic TP9 SF Elite and love it. And the grip is short enough to carry. So congratulations on that. Some folks are talking about some of the different Legions, and Mark was saying for a $1,200 Legion, are you saying is the new X5 going to be $1,200? I now Bald was saying that it's tungsten infused. The grip is tungsten infused. I don't know exactly what that means, so probably heavier. But it's $1,200, man. That's a lot of money.
yeah, it is. Oh yeah. I mean, I was almost at that point that I was going to sell a firearm to buy a CZ Shadow 2, and I didn't do it. And I'm glad I didn't do it. I'm glad. I mean, I know it's nice, but
You're going to cause a riot with this crowd, just so you know. This is a heavily CZ oriented crowd on this chat.
absolutely. I have an SPO1 tactical that I absolutely love. And after looking at one at SHOT Show, I totally understand why everybody loves it. I just couldn't justify spending that much money on it when I already had a SPO1 tactical. Yeah, I know there's a lot of differences, but at the end of the day, I feel that if I needed that pistol to perform in adverse conditions, I think the SPO1 tactical would do better than the Shadow 2. And that's kind of how my mindset is. So
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Well, everybody, even though it's been called to burn you, we're going to go ahead and not do that. Pistol get him.
burn the witch.
Burn the witch. It's exactly right. Riot. So, yeah, we're not going to do that. He's got a CZ, so he's cool. So that's all that matters. But so Snowman, I think Snowman's asked this a couple of times. So apologize that we missed it. But he's asking about the KS7 shotgun by Keltec. Any experience with that?
None. To be frankly honest with you, I have, let's see, let me go back into my mental database. Zero experience with Keltec. None whatsoever. I've never even handled one. Mostly because to be frankly honest with you, I have a bias against them. But and not because I guess I'm just a gun snob when it comes to that. You know, I'll freely admit that I have no interest. I guess I don't know. You know that it sounds really bad, but I'm not interested. So
Yeah. Yeah, I get it. I think it's okay to admit a bias. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I mean, I think we all have biases to one degree or another, whether it's a brand or whatever it is, or a style of firearm. I mean, I'm not big into revolvers. I don't know if it's a bias or not, but it's just something that I've never leaned towards. So I think we have that. I'm with you. Zero, zilch, no experience with Keltec at all. I've handled one. It was one of the little P ones. I don't remember which one. Whatever. It was fine. But I've never had a drive to have one ever.
Yeah, I'm just looking at a picture here of it, and here's what's going to this is what gets me about Keltec is that grip that they have, that texture on the grip that they have, not only on their pistols but on this shotgun as well. It's that rectangle pattern that
Mhm.
they got. I can't get over that, you know. So, and then this has like an integrated carrying handle on it, and I don't know. It looks to me like the height over bore, as far as how you would sight in this thing, is about 3 inches. So that's something that's kind of weird too. Yeah, it's a shotgun, but Mr. Guns and Gear did a really great video on the misconception of you just need to point a shotgun at someone and then the pellets will miraculously engulf them. So yeah.
Yeah, it was a good video. I saw that as well, and that's absolutely true. You still have to aim a shotgun. You still have to aim a shotgun. So it's funny. Pistol Pete was, I think, calling both of us out a little bit after the Keltec thing because he's saying "but Taurus." So
Yeah,
I'll be
yeah.
I'll be really honest with you. The whole reason I wanted to try the G2C was because other people were saying it was a good gun, and if a lot of people like reviewers, like Justin Opinion, I like him a lot. He is just a cool guy, and I respect his opinion a lot. If people like that are coming out and they're saying, this isn't a bad experience, it's not a bad gun. The firearm guy is another one. I was like, I need to try one. Plus, it was inexpensive, so it wasn't like I had to really think about, getting into something like the STI Staccato P. I had to really think long and hard about that because that's a big expenditure, and that means nothing else for a while. But the Taurus, okay, I could try it. If I don't like it, I'm not out that much. Whatever, it's not that big of a deal. And I tried it, and I was impressed. And so it was a natural experiment with that based upon other people's positive outlook on it. That was it.
Yeah. I should probably do the same thing that someone said Taurus, right? And that's kind of calling me out. Yeah, I should probably put my bias aside and go ahead and try one out. But I just haven't gotten to that point yet. Will I? Yeah, probably. But we'll see.
Yeah, yeah. So Austin has a question. I think this is good for both of us. Is YouTube your full-time job, or do you have a day job?
I have a day job. And the day job may become a lot more intense here in the next couple of months. There is a possibility for a promotion at my job, so something I'm going to have to apply for, that I've been asked to apply for. So that's going to make home life and the YouTube channel even more challenging too. So yeah, I definitely have a day job, and it's about to get a little bit more intense, maybe. Knock on wood.
Right, right. So same, a day job, absolutely a day job. There is no way, and when I set out to do this channel first, I didn't expect to still be doing it now. To be honest with you, I threw a video out there just to see what would happen, and some people made some nice comments, and it inspired me to keep going. And then some people made some nasty comments, but I kept going, and so I'm here. But there is no way. I think counting on YouTube or any platform like this, and I'm not picking on YouTube specifically, but any platform like this, to be a dependable, solid career choice. And some people do it, I get it, and some people have done very well doing it. That is the few, especially in our arena of topics. Nope, No, that is a dangerous proposition. There are some people that do this full time in our arena, and I commend them for that. I would not take that risk. That is not a thing. So yes, I have a full time job. I spend 50 hours a week doing something totally different than this.
Yeah. Well, my retirement plan is I'm going to get my daughter spun up on a toy unboxing channel,
Yeah.
and just allow her to rake in all the money, make her do all the hard work, and yeah, just do the whole Jackson 5 child exploitation aspect.
Right. 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 So we're getting pretty close to time. There was an interesting question out here though. Sledneck, I hope I'm saying that right, said, KS, what other videos do you do? So I'm curious about that question. I mean, my channel, the library is out there. You could certainly wander around. The same thing for Fit and Fire. So hopefully you'd be able to get a pretty good idea. I mean, for me, I am primarily a firearms reviewer. That's what I do. I mean, there are some products out there that I've made videos on, but generally speaking, I'm just a firearms reviewer. That's kind of my thing. So I don't know if you want to elaborate or if I misunderstood your question or anything like that. Fit, I don't know if you want to add anything to it.
Yeah, right now I just do that stuff, and then whatever I post on Instagram as well. So it's all firearms. I'm getting ready to announce this tonight on my live chat here at 9 o'clock here in about an hour. I'm going to do my subscriber giveaway and 13,000 subscriber giveaway. So that's going to be exciting. But I'm changing my format a little bit to incorporate a lot more fitness into my videos while I'm still reviewing a product, right? So, and what has really inspired me to do that is this last weekend out at Tactical Response and doing the training with them. I was in body armor for 2 days straight and running all over the place. And I was like, this is what I need to be doing. So that's kind of the direction I'm going to take the channel moving forward. So
nice. Nice. That's exciting. That's exciting. I'll be excited to see how that comes together for you. So
yeah, I did see one quick. It says Pistol Pete's asking, "What if YouTube shut down all the gun channels? What would you do then?"
It would be a mass exodus of firearms. No, I don't know. I mean, I would continue to be me and continue to enjoy shooting and that sort of thing. Obviously, wouldn't be on camera because I don't think there's another platform that works like YouTube does. Let's be honest. So I have not put myself out on any other platforms for that reason at this point. But yeah, I mean, that would be it. I mean, life goes on. It would be a real bummer. I mean, we've grown together, all of us. But I mean, we can't control what we can't control. So
yeah. And St. Paul and Curious says I'd open toy gun channel. So that's actually pretty funny. What I would do is I would follow along the lines of that, do a toy unboxing, but while I'm doing the toy unboxing, I'm talking about a firearm that may or may not be in the general vicinity.
right
yeah. There's no way we could get away with it because YouTube's what do they call it, their translator technology or their transcribing technology that kind of like is able to listen to what is being said in a video is like one of the most sophisticated in the world. So there's really, if they decided to shut it all down, they would mark the words that they would be looking for, and there's no way around it. So
right.
I just become an Instagram gun bunny. So that's what I would do.
There you go. All of a sudden, the Instagram stuff would get a lot more detailed, and that would be because there'd be a lot more time for that. Until they kicked us off. So I'll tell you what, it's a little after 8 o'clock. So we have definitely gone the full time. Any parting words?
No, I'm just looking forward to getting back out to your neck of the woods and doing some more shooting. And getting some more videos out to you guys. I got a few other projects that I just kind of need to get out of the way. I've got a holster review that I got to get out of the way. I've got a medical video that I need to get not like out of the way. I just need to get it done so I can really start focusing in on my new format. And that's about it. So looking forward to it.
Nice. Awesome. Well, listen, it's been an honor. It's been great to have you back on the channel. Really appreciate you spending some time with us, especially prior to your own chat. So
Yeah.
really appreciate that a lot, being flexible and everything. So, and to everybody else, thank you guys for hanging out with both of us and spending your Tuesday with us. We'll be doing this again tomorrow night, I think on 17's channel, if I'm not mistaken. So look forward to that, whoever can make it. But otherwise, everybody stay safe, shoot straight, and we will see you guys next time.
Take it easy.
Thanks all.